Hello, friends, and welcome to the last sketchbook tour of November. So I have some pages I'm very excited about showing you. I also attempted to do snowflake nails today. If you look far away, they look really good. I'll show you what they look like up close. Not as nice. You can definitely see the mistakes, but far away, I think they look really nice. I also want to apologize for last week. I listened back to my sketchbook tour, and not only I found the sound wasn't very good, but my voice sounded terrible, and I'm sorry that you had to listen to that from my week with COVID. It just sounded terrible. I still have a blocked nose. You can probably hear that, but hopefully it sounds a little bit better this week. So we left off last week in our COVID room. I have 5 pages for you today, and there's no color, but I did 5. Wait, did I do 6? Pen and ink pages that I'm really excited to share. So this is very much based on my own life after COVID, cleaning up and just going to cafes. Got some snowflakes. I'm spending a lot of time feeding the ducks and squirrels in my local parks. Very, very much living an extremely simple life and just very happy with it. There's some cafes near my house, and they are so friendly there, and it makes a huge difference in my day when I visit, and some bakeries as well. So remember, you can always pause if you want to stay on something a little bit longer. I am really excited to color this in also. Okay, so I really want to go to a mall. This sounds really basic. I haven't been to a mall in a while. I do since the pandemic. I do a lot of shopping online, and I grew up working in department stores, and I just thought Christmas time, though stressful, especially in Canada with like the Black Friday sales and the Boxing Day, is really fun and really festive. And I also worked at like a furniture store one Christmas. I worked in merchandising, and our job was putting Canadian stickers over the US prices. And it was just amazing. It's just like Michael Bublé and like pine needles and Christmas ornaments and like glitter everywhere. So I miss being in department stores. I feel like they're kind of becoming a thing of the past. And me and my sister would go with our like digital cameras and take pictures at like the Bay, which is like the Canadian version of like Debenhams or Harrods, maybe more like Debenhams. And we would just go and you just go and look at the Christmas decorations. Is just something that we used to do. So I kind of miss that. I would love to go to a mall this year to do my Christmas shopping. I made a lot of mistakes on this page. Usually when you see a lot of black, it's because I've made a mistake and I'm trying to hide it. Not always, but sometimes. Really messed up this whole thing simply by putting this person's foot on the same level as her foot. So it looked like they were literally about to collide. So I had to hide that with this hooded person that just looks like her. So, I just continued anyway. I like this one. Got beauty counter, advent calendar. I might put some cosmetics in the back here. This is going to be very Christmas colors, very strong, like red, which like traditional Christmas colors, like red, green, and gold. Okay, next page. So around Christmas, around the holidays, since I've lived in Canada, um, especially with my anxiety disorder that I have right now, I become very isolated in Christmas just simply because it's harder for me to get around. Your mood is a little bit less elevated, you feel less inclined to do things, and I think that's normal. But I have a really hard time just going and seeing my friends. And so I'm taking us back to this area. But I have some positivity in here too. So if you remember this from the beginning of the comic book, just a trigger warning for like depression, okay, if you're watching this. So I drew this back in, oh gosh, I don't know, January or February, maybe March, because those months, honestly, they blend together. So how I was feeling is we were on lockdown in Canada again, and it was another very long lockdown. In fact, they locked us down on New Year's Eve. So it was another New Year's Eve I spent alone in my apartment. Not the greatest feeling. And people were meeting up and stuff, but you have to like kind of plan ahead to do that. And they announced it on New Year's Eve. So I was alone. I was feeling horrible. I was still dealing with like really bad secondhand smoke in my apartment. This is the idea. This is what it felt like to me. It felt like, and I drew it actually, it literally felt like I was drifting away from everyone. And I was listening to A doctor talk about this with depressive patients. If you saw the documentary on Netflix, Stutz, I'm going to check the name. He talked about this. When you're depressed, you kind of like, it's not like you just cut people off, but you like slowly sail away from your friends. And I definitely experienced that. And I felt like I was just in the middle of a dark, you know, dark ice field. I felt completely hopeless. And then I had this feeling or this memory that, like, when you're in this place of like, there's nothing, you have no hope, you're like, where is this going? I feel terrible. Like, there's no end to this. Often something good can come from that place of like absolute darkness and hell. It's like, oh, but something good could happen. So the idea of her like swimming was like, this is a really bad place to be in, but I'm just gonna jump into the freezing cold water because like, what's the worst that could happen? And then she finds this portal that leads her to the cabin. So that was supposed to be about, this idea that like things are really hard, there's no way out, but then something presents itself, a friend comes through, an opportunity comes through, maybe your mindset changes and it takes you to a different place very quickly. You know, and I think I talk a lot about jumping and leaps in this comic book. And so you take this leap to go into this water that's unswimmable and you come out the other side somewhere better. I'll show you the cabin because this is coming back. So this cabin, if you remember, I wanted to give you a rundown. And because we're going back into winter and I'm feeling a little down, like it's normal, just lower energy, I wanted to put that back. Like, I feel, again, isolated from my friends. It's harder for me to get around. So I kind of feel like that, oh, I'm floating away again. Okay. But it's also kind of like beautiful because it's not the same energy as last time. Because last time was scary and then there was this like ray of hope. But this is like, I know what's happening and it's okay. It's going to be fine, right? We know that now. So she's floating off and she gets to the same island she did before and she sees the cabin. Now I got a little bit ahead of myself because I wanted to put her in this cave, which is one of my favorite illustrations in the whole comic book. I wanted to put her in there before she went to the cabin. So I had to do a little bit of rearranging. Here I'm going to just swap some of the squares, cells. I don't know what they call them. So she's going to arrive, go for a walk, build a snowman, you know, enjoy the winter. Whereas last time it was about winter being this dark kind of isolation. Now it's a bit like, okay, winter is for solitude sometimes, but it can be really nice and there's a lot of beauty in it actually, especially when it snows. And I'll show you how this has come along a little bit. So it's symbolic that even though the same things are there, the same bed, the same lights, the same lantern, the same backpack and books, it's more like developed than it was before. So it's like symbolic of having more tools and resources and getting further along in the year. We actually have food here and a camping stove, lanterns, there's an escape latch. I thought a lot about like, okay, so she's hiding in here, right? What if a bear comes in or an animal? She's totally trapped. So I'm like, okay, escape route. Just climb up there and that will take you somewhere, okay? So I like this idea of like winter being framed as something a little more positive than it was at the beginning of the year. Now, winter in November and December is very different from winter in January, February, March, April. Like, it's a very different energy, but I want that to show up in the comic book. So she goes to the cabin, and here we go. It's the cabin. It's going to be like, I'm going to go hard with the Christmas decorations. It's going to be very festive. I'm also going to use this as an opportunity to correct some mistakes that I made. So I actually printed it and traced it. And then I'm going to add Christmas decorations, festive pillows, going to be random snacks, candy canes, like holly, little decorations and stuff like that. This feels like coming home, you know, it's going to be a winter cabin. I'm going to fix the door because I made that door black to cover a mistake again. So yeah, that's it. That's page 85. Okay, so it's going to be the cabin. And then we're going to continue. Look at this. This is how many pages we have left. Oh my God. Look how dirty this page is too. Like, this book has been through it this year. I'm actually really excited about these pages. I like going through the phase of like sketching a few pages, then I ink them, and then I take like a week to just color them. That being said, I am unexpectedly moving. I know we don't want to hear this because I've had nothing but accommodation troubles all year. But my roommate and I have not been getting along very well. It was never a good fit to begin with. It kind of blew up a little bit this weekend, which, was only a matter of time. Um, but she took it really hard and like took it hard. Like she just went really hard and was very angry. And I just don't want to be in another living situation where I feel uncomfortable or mistreated. So I'm leaving. Doing what's best for me. It's not going to be easy for me to do that on short notice, but I'm going to be leaving. So I'm going to try to pack my Copic markers so I can work on this because I love doing that. But if not, maybe I'll just do more ink stuff. But we are approaching page 90, which to me is just crazy. Like, let's just do a little flip here. It doesn't flip super cleanly, but look at all this. Do you remember all this? Do you remember being in Japan? Thank you so much for coming to my sketchbook tour. And I will see you in a couple weeks. Just really excited. I have a couple endings planned that are going to reflect my own life and mental health state. So I'm hoping for a positive outcome, but if it's not positive, then I won't end it positively. It's going to be honest. And yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to see. I did get some requests to make it super like Christmas vibes, which I'm happy to do. And I like taking your requests. Like that's how we ended up going to Japan. People, if you recommend something to me, I'll definitely think about it for sure. Yeah. So thank you so much for being here, and I hope you have an amazing couple weeks.